Welcome back to the show. We have about 5 minutes this morning to spend with bulb expert Deirdre Millen with Down the Garden Path of Midlothian. I just met you a couple weeks ago when we were out at Lewis Ginter Botanical Garden for the Fall Plant Fest. You have a beautiful collection of bulbs. This is what you do, and so we thought, let's share. But you've made this out to be so simple. Dig, drop, and done. Yep. So what are we going to cover for 5 minutes? Just kidding.
Thankfully, there's a lot more involved in the bulb world than that. I mean, thankfully, the planting aspect of it is probably the simplest part. After that, we're going to be breaking down to varieties and other such things. So I brought with me a few different varieties today.
You picked your favorites, right?
Yes, I did. All of these things that I brought with me today are in my own yard.
Okay.
So I wanted to bring things that I know are perfect winners that will always have fantastic blooms for you year in and year out.
So they do well here, and they are really showstoppers.
Yes, and they're all deer-proof.
Okay.
No rodents, no mice, no anything will eat any of these.
That's a big plus, because if you make the investment to put them in the ground, you don't want everybody else eating them before you get to enjoy them.
Exactly.
So starting with this one, what do we have here, Deirdre?
This one is Jetfire. Jetfire is a petite variety. It comes up a little bit earlier in the spring than some of the larger ones. One of the things I really love about this is that it has up to 3 flowers per bulb. Oh. We're not talking per stem, we're talking per bulb itself. So, and I actually sent a picture in of these of my own personal garden, and they were just stunningly beautiful. And I put in about half as many bulbs as it looks like are in that bed.
Wow. So that's a great one to see. We were seeing a picture of that on screen. Moving on to this one, different but still just as gorgeous.
Exactly. White Lion is a double flowering bloom. It is it's from the 1940s. It's a classic award-winning bulb. It has really nice longevity, and it's got white petals with a pale pink ruffles around the inside.
It's gorgeous. It really is. Another and a nice contrast to the Jetfire.
Exactly. It's a completely different height. It's going to be about 3 inches taller.
And the third one you have in the daffodil family or the narcissus family, I've never seen this one.
This is a split corona flower, and it gets a 4-inch bloom. It's a much larger bulb, and that's why I have all the different bulb sizes out for you. It's a much larger bulb than the other ones that we carry. It's up to a 4-inch bloom. It is just probably one of the largest daffodils I've ever seen personally.
It's hard to believe that this blossoms into that, but it's true. It does happen, right?
Yes.
Another favorite pick are the alliums, and you see these a lot around town.
Well, alliums, they're very interesting. They've been a big part of our country's history. In fact, there is one that is pretty indigenous to Virginia called the Yorktown onion, and that's a larger globe than this one right here. This one has about a 1 to 1.5 inch bloom.
Wow, it's very striking in a group.
Yes, it's beautiful, but interplanted with daylilies and things like that, and it blooms right before the daylilies, and so you get a nice gradation of color.
Terrific. Well, we're talking favorites, we're also talking tips, and you brought a small sample pot for us to do this. Now, Deirdre, if you didn't have a yard, if you wanted to do this on a super smaller scale, could you do it in a planter?
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the best ways to have bulbs on your porch is to plant them underneath of something like violas or pansies. That way you get color all throughout the winter, and then in the springtime the bulbs will actually come up through the pansies, and you will get the taller blooms on top.
A lot of fun. And then you could maybe transplant them after they've already
Absolutely,
bloomed?
yes, you can. You can actually transplant them and move them after they bloom. You do want to wait until after the foliage has started to die back.
So the easy steps: dig, drop,
and done. Yes.
Okay.
And I brought some of my favorite bulb planting tools with me.
All right.
I'm going to use the rockery trowel. This is the one that I use most of the time, personally. It's a great tool because it can be used for multiple things. So we just dig ourselves a hole in here, about 6 inches deep, depending on the size of the bulb. The larger bulbs you want to be about 6 inches deep. The smaller bulbs you want to be about 3 inches deep. And that's for the bottom of the bulb. Then you just cover it up, and you leave it alone until the next spring.
And you just wait for the magic to happen in the spring.
That's it.
We have 1 minute left. You showed us a tool that you really like. Tell me the name again.
It's a British rockery trowel. It's a tool designed for rocky and difficult soils, making it a glorious tool for Virginia clay.
Yes, because I often will get in there and then think, oh, it's rocky, I'll find another spot.
Exactly.
These two...
The middle one is a classic bulb planter. It's got a round hole in the bottom, and this is great when you're doing multiple batches of bulbs. You want to just punch down, lift up, throw the bulb in, cover it up. That's simple. And then this one, this is a hori-hori knife. It is it's a digging blade. So you can use this for cutting, you can use this for sawing, and it's got the graduated measure, which makes it perfect for bulb planting.
And if any roots are blocking your progress, you can take care of business.
Also, if you need to go in and divide, because this is also a great time for dividing iris, you can use it for that as well.
Fantastic. Deirdre, you have so many tips. You have a very special event coming up. It's called Bulb-A-Palooza. We're going to have a link to Down the Garden Path right there on WTVR.com/VTM later today so that you can check it out along with more fall planting tips. This was terrific. Thank you so much.
Thank you.